Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something fundamental about the way your mind works. You are in a battle. A battle not just against the chaos of the world, but against the chaos within yourself. And in this battle, your greatest weapon is your focus. You see, when you focus, when you truly direct your attention towards something meaningful, you are not just looking at it. You are forging yourself into the kind of person who can handle reality, because the mind, much like a muscle, does not grow in distraction. It does not sharpen itself in comfort. It grows in challenge, in precision, in the ability to filter out the noise and aim at what truly matters. And here's the remarkable thing. The more you focus, the stronger your mind becomes. It becomes a force, a disciplined, structured, and powerful force that can cut through uncertainty, overcome obstacles, and build something real in this world. So today, I want to talk to you about why focus is not just a skill, but a necessity. Why it's the foundation of strength, resilience, and success. And most importantly, how you can train your mind to become sharper, clearer mind, more formidable than you ever imagined. What you focus on determines how you experience the world. Your perception of reality is not just a passive reflection of what exists, but an active construction shaped by your attention. The mind is selective. It cannot process everything at once, so it filters information based on what you prioritize consciously or unconsciously. If you consistently focus on what is negative, chaotic, or meaningless, your reality will seem overwhelming and disordered. But if you focus on what is structured, purposeful, and meaningful, your reality will take on those qualities instead. Neuroscientists have long studied the way attention influences cognition, and their findings confirm what thinkers and philosophers have suggested for centuries. Your mind is not just a mirror reflecting the world. It is a lens shaping what you see. Two people can stand in the same place, experience the same event, and walk away with completely different understandings of it, simply because their attention was directed at different aspects of the experience. One sees the opportunity, the other sees the obstacle. One sees the lesson, the other sees the failure. This is why training your focus is essential. It is not merely about increasing productivity or efficiency. It is about defining the kind of world you live in. Imagine someone who spends most of their time scrolling through social media, consuming shallow entertainment, or constantly shifting their attention from one thing to another without ever engaging deeply. Their mind becomes accustomed to fragmentation, or their ability to think critically, to engage deeply with an idea, to persist through difficulty will deteriorate. They become reactive rather than proactive, constantly swayed by whatever stimulus is in front of them. They feel as if they have no control over their own lives because, in a sense, they don't. Their attention is being directed by external forces rather than by their own will. Now, contrast that with someone who deliberately trains their focus. They read books that challenge them, engage in work that requires sustained effort, and direct their attention toward meaningful goals. Over time, their mind becomes sharper, more disciplined, and more capable of handling complexity. They are not easily distracted because they have trained themselves to resist the pull of trivialities. They have the ability to see patterns that others miss, to persist where others give up, and to create something of value because their attention is not constantly being hijacked by meaningless distractions. One of the most striking examples of the power of attention can be found in the psychological concept of selective attention. A famous experiment known as the invisible gorilla test demonstrated this phenomenon. Participants were asked to watch a video of people passing a basketball and to count the number of passes. In the middle of the video, a person in a gorilla costume walked through the scene, stopped, and even pounded their chest. Yet, about half of the participants failed to notice it. Why? Because their attention was directed elsewhere. This experiment illustrates a crucial point. What you do not focus on, you do not see. This is not just a quirky psychological trick. It is a fundamental principle of how the mind works. If you focus only on problems, you will see problems everywhere. See, if you focus only on fear, you will become paralyzed by it. But if you train your mind to focus on solutions, on growth, on what is within your control, your perception of reality will shift accordingly. This is not about ignoring the difficulties of life or pretending that problems don't exist. Rather, it is about directing your attention toward what empowers you instead of what weakens you. In the modern world, attention is one of the most valuable commodities. Companies spend billions of dollars figuring out how to capture and hold your attention for as long as possible. Social media platforms, news outlets, and entertainment industries all compete for your focus because they understand its power. But the question is, do you? Do you recognize that where you place your attention is one of the most important decisions you make every single day? Training your focus requires deliberate effort. It means resisting the constant pull of notifications, instant gratification, and mindless consumption. It means setting clear priorities and eliminating distractions. It means practicing the ability to concentrate for extended periods without allowing your mind to drift. It is not easy, but it is necessary because your ability to focus determines not just what you accomplish, but how you experience reality itself. A scattered mind is a weak mind. When attention is constantly shifting from one thing to another without any real engagement, the ability to think deeply and critically deteriorates. Distraction weakens cognitive function, shortens attention span, and makes it increasingly difficult to stay present. The modern world is filled with distractions, each one designed to pull attention away from what is meaningful and direct it toward what is immediate, entertaining, or emotionally stimulating. The more a person indulges in distraction, the harder it becomes to resist it, and over time, the ability to focus diminishes. Distraction is not just a minor inconvenience, it has serious consequences on mental strength and resilience. When the mind is constantly fragmented, it struggles to engage with anything for a prolonged period. This weakens problem-solving abilities, reduces creativity, and makes it harder to retain information. The ability to focus on a single task for an extended period is what allows people to master skills, build expertise, and achieve meaningful goals. Without this ability, progress becomes impossible. One of the main reasons distraction is so damaging is that it encourages passive consumption rather than active engagement. When people are constantly distracted, they consume information without truly processing it. They read headlines instead of full articles, skim through content instead of reflecting on it, and switch between tasks without fully completing any of them. This creates an illusion of productivity. But in reality, very little is being absorbed or understood. The mind becomes conditioned to seek instant gratification rather than sustained effort. Another problem with distraction is that it prevents deep thinking. Complex problems require sustained focus. They cannot be solved in short bursts of attention. When the mind is trained to switch from one thing to another rapidly, it loses the ability to sit with a problem, analyze it from different angles, and develop meaningful solutions. Deep thinking requires patience, but a distracted mind has no patience. It constantly seeks stimulation, avoiding anything that requires real effort. As a result, critical thinking skills decline and people become more reactive rather than thoughtful in their decision making. Distraction also weakens emotional resilience. When attention is constantly divided, emotional responses become shallow. People who are always distracted struggle to regulate their emotions because they do not take the time to fully process their experiences. Instead of confronting difficult emotions and working through them, they escape into distractions. This leads to avoidance behavior, where problems are ignored rather than addressed. Over time, this weakens mental toughness and makes it harder to deal with adversity. The impact of distraction on memory is another significant issue. The brain needs focused attention to encode and retrieve information effectively. When people are constantly distracted, they struggle to remember details, retain knowledge, and apply what they have learned. This is why multitasking is a myth. Trying to do multiple things at once does not increase efficiency. It reduces effectiveness. Studies have shown that people who frequently multitask actually perform worse on cognitive tasks than those who focus on one thing at a time. The constant switching between tasks exhausts the brain and makes it harder to concentrate in the long run. One of the reasons distraction is so pervasive today is that it has been engineered to be addictive. Social media platforms, streaming services, and digital entertainment companies all compete for attention, using algorithms designed to keep users engaged for as long as possible. These distractions exploit psychological weaknesses, triggering dopamine releases that create temporary pleasure, but long-term dissatisfaction. The more people indulge in these distractions, the more they crave them, leading to a cycle of dependence that weakens self-control. There is also a social aspect to distraction. When people are distracted, they are less present in their interactions with others. Conversations become superficial and meaningful connections suffer. The ability to listen deeply, understand perspectives, and engage in thoughtful dialogue declines. This affects relationships, teamwork, and the ability to communicate effectively. A distracted mind is not only weaker individually, but it also struggles to function well in a group setting. Distraction is a slow but powerful force that erodes mental strength over time. It is not always obvious because it happens gradually. A few moments of lost focus here and there may seem insignificant, but over weeks, months, and years they add up. The cumulative effect of constant distraction is a weaker, less capable mind that struggles to achieve anything of real substance. Focus is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Just as physical strength is built through repeated resistance and deliberate effort, mental strength is developed through sustained concentration and disciplined attention. People are not born with an unlimited ability to focus. It is something that must be cultivated over time. The modern world is filled with distractions that pull attention in multiple directions, making it easy to fall into patterns of fragmented thinking. Without conscious effort, focus remains weak, and the ability to engage deeply with tasks becomes increasingly difficult. The brain has an incredible capacity to adapt, a phenomenon known as neuroplasticity. This means that whatever habits are repeatedly practiced become ingrained. If a person constantly shifts their attention from one task to another, their brain becomes wired for distraction. If they train themselves to sustain focus, their brain adapts to that as well. Strengthening focus requires intentional practice, just as building physical endurance requires consistent training. It starts with small steps, like dedicating short periods of time to deep work and gradually increasing the duration. Over time, the mind learns to resist distractions and sustain attention for longer periods. One of the biggest obstacles to focus is the constant need for instant gratification. When people are used to getting quick bursts of stimulation from notifications, social media, or entertainment, they find it difficult to persist with tasks that require effort. The mind becomes conditioned to seek easy rewards rather than deep engagement. Training focus involves breaking this pattern by resisting the urge for immediate distractions and pushing through moments of discomfort. Just as an athlete must endure fatigue to build endurance, the mind must overcome the initial difficulty of sustained focus to become stronger. Another important aspect of strengthening focus is learning how to manage mental energy. Focus is not just about willpower. It is also about understanding how the brain functions. The ability to concentrate is highest when the mind is well rested and energized. Poor sleep, an unhealthy diet, and a lack of physical activity all weaken cognitive function and make it harder to focus. Taking care of the body directly impacts mental clarity. Additionally, managing stress plays a crucial role. A mind that is overwhelmed with worry or anxiety struggles to maintain attention. Practices such as mindfulness, meditation, and structured relaxation can help create the mental space needed for deep focus. Eliminating unnecessary distractions is another essential step in building stronger focus. Many distractions are not accidental. They are designed to capture attention. Notifications, emails, and background noise all compete for mental resources. When these distractions are constantly present, they create a habit of divided attention. The best way to counter this is to create an environment that supports concentration. This might mean setting specific times for focused work, turning off notifications, or finding a quiet space free from interruptions. Each small change reinforces the ability to sustain attention for longer periods. Focus is also strengthened by engaging in challenging tasks that require deep thinking. When people avoid difficult problems or choose tasks that require minimal effort, their ability to concentrate weakens. Engaging in activities that push mental limits, such as reading complex material, solving difficult problems, or practicing a skill for extended periods, forces the mind to develop endurance. Just as lifting heavier weights leads to muscle growth, tackling mentally demanding tasks leads to stronger focus. The discomfort that comes with deep work is a sign of growth, and pushing through it results in greater mental resilience. Building focus also involves setting clear intentions. When the mind is unclear about what it is supposed to be focusing on, it becomes easy to drift. Defining specific goals before starting a task helps direct attention. This could mean outlining key objectives, breaking work into smaller steps, or using techniques like time blocking to allocate periods of undistracted effort. Having a clear structure prevents the mind from wandering and reinforces the habit of deep focus. One of the most effective ways to train focus is through consistent practice. Just as a muscle weakens when it is not used, focus deteriorates when it is not exercised regularly. Making focused work a daily habit strengthens cognitive endurance over time. Even small, consistent improvements lead to significant results. The more frequently the mind is challenged to focus, the easier it becomes to maintain attention for longer periods. Clarity is one of the most powerful mental assets a person can cultivate. A focused mind cuts through confusion and brings precision to thoughts, decisions, and actions. Without clarity, the mind becomes clouded with uncertainty, doubt, and distraction. The people who lack clarity often feel overwhelmed because they struggle to determine what truly matters. They drift from one task to another, never fully committing to a single course of action. In contrast, those who develop mental clarity gain a sense of direction, purpose, and control over their lives. They are able to see through complexity and make better choices because they understand where they are going and why. A lack of clarity weakens the mind by creating mental fog. When thoughts are scattered and priorities are unclear, the brain expends energy trying to process too many things at once. This leads to indecision, stress, and mental exhaustion. Just as a cluttered room makes it difficult to find what is needed, a cluttered mind makes it hard to focus on what is important. Clarity provides structure, allowing the brain to allocate energy efficiently. It helps eliminate unnecessary distractions and keeps attention locked on meaningful goals. One of the biggest obstacles to clarity is information overload. The modern world bombards people with more information than they can process. News, social media, advertisements, and endless streams of content compete for attention, making it difficult to distinguish between what is relevant and what is noise. When the mind is constantly flooded with excessive input, it becomes difficult to think clearly. Filtering out unnecessary information and focusing on what is essential strengthens mental clarity. This means being intentional about what is consumed and setting boundaries on distractions that dilute focus. Another key factor in achieving clarity is self-awareness. Many people struggle with confusion because they have not taken the time to understand themselves. They are uncertain about their values, goals, and priorities. Without a strong sense of self, decision-making becomes difficult because there is no internal compass guiding choices. Developing clarity starts with asking important questions. What truly matters? What are the core values that guide decisions? What long-term goals are worth pursuing? When these answers become clear, distractions lose their power and focus sharpens. Mental clarity also comes from simplifying complexity. Many people feel overwhelmed because they try to manage too many things at once. They spread themselves thin, juggling multiple tasks, commitments, and goals without a clear structure. This leads to burnout and frustration. Simplification is not about avoiding challenges, but about organizing thoughts and actions in a way that makes them manageable. Breaking down large goals into smaller, well-defined steps creates a clear path forward. When the mind sees a logical sequence of actions, it is easier to maintain focus and momentum. Another way to strengthen clarity is by eliminating mental clutter. Just as a clean workspace improves productivity, a clear mind enhances focus. Overthinking, unnecessary worry, and dwelling on the past all contribute to mental noise that reduces clarity. Practices like journaling, meditation, and reflection help declutter the mind by organizing thoughts and filtering out distractions. When the mind is free from unnecessary burdens, it has more space to concentrate on what truly matters. Clarity is also strengthened by setting clear intentions before starting any task. When the brain knows exactly what it needs to focus on, it is less likely to be distracted. Ambiguity weakens focus, while precision enhances it. Instead of approaching tasks with a vague sense of direction, defining clear objectives helps sharpen attention. This can be as simple as outlining key steps before beginning a project or setting specific milestones to track progress. Clear intentions provide a roadmap that keeps the mind engaged and prevents it from wandering. Developing clarity requires discipline. It is easy to fall into patterns of distraction and mental fog, but training the mind to seek precision takes effort. Regular reflection on priorities, consistent organization of thoughts, and a commitment to eliminating distractions all contribute to a sharper, more focused mind. Clarity is not something that happens by accident. It is the result of deliberate effort. Discipline is the foundation of mastery. Without it, focus crumbles, goals remain unattained, and potential is wasted. The modern world is designed to pull attention in every direction, offering countless distractions that provide short-term gratification, but no real progress. The ability to resist these distractions and commit to a meaningful pursuit is what separates those who succeed from those who remain stuck in cycles of mediocrity. Mastering focus requires overcoming impulses that lead to distraction, and this is only possible through discipline. The human brain is wired to seek pleasure and avoid discomfort. This served an evolutionary purpose when survival depended on responding to immediate threats and rewards, but in today's world, this tendency often works against long-term success. Social media, entertainment, and endless streams of content offer instant dopamine hits, making it tempting to indulge in them rather than engage in deep, meaningful work. Discipline is what allows a person to resist these temptations and prioritize what truly matters. It is not about denying pleasure entirely, but about choosing long-term fulfillment over fleeting enjoyment. One of the most important aspects of discipline is consistency. Success is not built on occasional bursts of motivation, but on sustained effort over time. Many people start strong, but give up when the initial excitement fades. They rely on feeling motivated, but motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Discipline, on the other hand, is a choice made every day, regardless of how one feels in the moment. It is about showing up, putting in the work, and staying committed even when it is difficult or inconvenient. The more consistently a person trains their focus, the stronger their ability to resist distractions becomes. Self-control is at the heart of discipline. It is the ability to delay gratification in favor of long-term rewards. Studies on self-discipline have repeatedly shown that those who can resist short-term temptations tend to achieve greater success in various areas of life, from academics to career advancement. The famous marshmallow test demonstrated this principle in children. Those who were able to delay eating a marshmallow for a promised greater reward later in life showed higher levels of achievement. The same principle applies to focus. Those who train themselves to resist the urge to check their phone, procrastinate, or indulge in distractions build the mental strength needed to sustain deep concentration. Setting clear boundaries is essential for discipline. The environment plays a significant role in shaping behavior. If distractions are always within reach, resisting them becomes a constant battle. A disciplined mind recognizes this and takes proactive steps to eliminate unnecessary temptations. This might mean creating a distraction-free workspace, setting specific time blocks for focused work, or using tools to limit digital distractions. The fewer temptations there are, the easier it is to stay disciplined. Another critical aspect of discipline is the ability to push through discomfort. Focused work is not always enjoyable in the moment. It requires mental effort, patience, and persistence. Many people give up when they encounter difficulty because they associate discomfort with failure. But in reality, discomfort is a sign of growth. Just as muscles grow through resistance and strain, mental strength develops through pushing past challenges. Discipline is what keeps a person engaged when the work becomes tedious, frustrating, or exhausting. Those who learn to embrace discomfort as part of the process become unstoppable in their ability to focus. Creating routine strengthens discipline. When focus becomes a habit, it requires less willpower to maintain. Developing a structured routine for work, study, or personal growth removes the need to constantly decide when and how to engage in focused effort. The brain thrives on patterns, and once a habit is formed, it becomes second nature. This is why some of the most successful individuals have strict routines. They understand that discipline is not about making constant decisions, but about creating systems that make focus automatic. Accountability is another powerful tool for discipline. It is easy to rationalize distractions when no one is watching, but having external accountability increases commitment. This can come from mentors, peers, or even self-imposed systems like tracking progress and setting consequences for failing to stay on track. When focus is treated as a serious commitment rather than a casual effort, discipline becomes easier to maintain. Discipline also requires self-awareness. Understanding personal weaknesses and recognizing patterns of distraction allows a person to take proactive steps to counter them. Some people struggle with focus in the morning, while others lose concentration later in the day. Identifying these patterns makes it possible to adjust schedules and strategies for maximum effectiveness. Discipline is not about blindly forcing productivity, but about working intelligently to optimize focus. Mastering focus through discipline is not an overnight process. It requires ongoing effort, adjustment, and commitment. The more it is practiced, the stronger it becomes. Over time, what once felt like a struggle becomes second nature, and the ability to resist distractions becomes effortless. Ladies and gentlemen, the strength of the mind is directly tied to the ability to focus. Focus is not just a skill, it is a fundamental force that shapes intelligence, creativity, and resilience. The more a person trains their focus, the stronger their mind becomes. In contrast, a scattered, distracted mind is weak, easily swayed by external influences, and incapable of sustained deep thought. The ability to direct attention toward a meaningful pursuit for an extended period is what separates high achievers from those who struggle to make progress. Focus is not something that happens naturally in today's world. The modern environment is designed to fragment attention. Smartphones, social media notifications, and constant entertainment all compete for mental energy, pulling the mind in multiple directions at once. Every time attention is diverted, mental energy is drained. Over time, this weakens cognitive endurance and makes it harder to concentrate for long periods. When a person's focus is constantly shifting, their ability to think deeply, solve problems, and retain information deteriorates. Mind becomes restless, always seeking the next source of stimulation rather than engaging fully with the task at hand. The brain is like a muscle. It adapts to whatever it is trained to do. If it is trained to switch tasks frequently, it becomes good at distraction. And if it is trained to sustain focus, it becomes stronger and more capable of deep concentration. When a person consistently engages in focused work, they build mental endurance, allowing them to process complex ideas and tackle difficult challenges with greater ease. Just as physical strength is developed through repeated resistance, mental strength is built through repeated practice of deep focus. One of the key benefits of strong focus is enhanced cognitive function. The brain operates more efficiently when it is allowed to concentrate fully on one task at a time. Studies have shown that multitasking reduces productivity and increases errors. The human brain is not designed to handle multiple streams of information simultaneously. Instead, it works best when it is given the opportunity to engage deeply with a single task. When focus is uninterrupted, the brain processes information more effectively, leading to better memory retention, sharper problem-solving skills, and improved creativity. Creativity, in particular, thrives in a focused mind. Many people believe that creativity is about spontaneous bursts of inspiration, but in reality, it is often the result of sustained, concentrated effort. When a person focuses deeply on a problem, their subconscious mind continues working on it even when they are not actively thinking about it. This is why breakthrough ideas often come after long periods of intense focus. A distracted mind, on the other hand, struggles to make meaningful connections because it is too scattered to engage deeply with any one idea. Emotional resilience is another area where focus strengthens the mind. People who struggle to focus often experience higher levels of anxiety and stress because their thoughts are constantly jumping from one thing to another. A focused mind is more present, more engaged, and less prone to overthinking. When attention is directed toward what is meaningful, there is less mental space for unnecessary worry and distraction. The ability to focus on the present moment reduces stress and increases a sense of control, making it easier to navigate challenges with a clear and composed mind. Training focus also strengthens discipline. In a world filled with distractions, the ability to resist temptations and stay committed to a task requires self-control. Every time a person chooses to stay focused instead of giving in to distractions, they strengthen their willpower. Over time, this builds a habit of discipline that extends to all areas of life. Whether it is working on a project, learning a new skill, or maintaining healthy habits, the ability to focus ensures consistent progress. Deep focus also improves decision-making. When the mind is scattered, decisions are often rushed or based on incomplete information. A person who is constantly distracted does not take the time to analyze situations thoroughly, leading to impulsive choices. In contrast, a focused mind is able to weigh options carefully, consider long-term consequences, and make more strategic decisions. The clarity that comes with focus allows for better judgment and wiser choices. Another advantage of a strong focus is the ability to achieve mastery. Becoming truly skilled in any field requires thousands of hours of dedicated practice. Athletes, musicians, scientists, and entrepreneurs all reach the highest levels of success through relentless focus on their craft. The more deeply a person engages with a skill or subject, the more expertise they develop. Mastery is not achieved through occasional bursts of effort, but through sustained, concentrated work over long periods. Building a strong focus is a process that requires practice and intentionality. The more effort is put into training focus, the easier it becomes to sustain attention for extended periods. Over time, the mind becomes sharper, more disciplined, and more resilient. The ability to direct attention toward meaningful goals is what transforms potential into achievement. and